Hello, my name is Paul Holthus. I'm the CEO of the World Ocean Council, the global blue economy business and investment organization. I'm happy to be here today at the MENA Energy Meet for 2021 to talk to you about the energy transition and the ocean, in particular in regards to oil and gas and renewables for achieving sustainable seas in the GCC region. If we think about the GCC region and the variety of resources that are available, it's really important to think about the kinds of oil and gas and renewable energy options as we transition to a more low carbon and no carbon energy future, and how this relates to the overall use of the GCC marine areas and resources. In any ocean area, there are a mix of users: direct ocean users, shipping, fishing, offshore energy, aquaculture, tourism, ports, etc. And these are all supported by a range of industries that make those direct uses possible. In addition, there's the infrastructure, the insurance, finance, legal communities that make all of these ocean uses and support industries possible for the overall ocean business community activity in the marine space. There is a challenge, though. Many of the issues affecting sustainable development in the ocean areas and marine areas require access and social license to address critical issues. Most of these issues are cross-cutting or cumulative. The sustaining of ocean health and productivity really requires responsible use and stewardship by all users. And so the best efforts by a single company are often not enough to ensure ocean health. So industries need to collaborate and will benefit from collaboration by creating synergies and economies of scale in working on these ocean issues. However, there's a need for a structure and a process to bring together ocean industries to create the leadership and collaboration and action necessary. This is what led to the formation of the World Ocean Council, which I lead. As I say, it's a business leadership alliance bringing together the entire range of ocean industries and the surrounding investment and legal and insurance communities to catalyze private sector collaboration in advancing ocean sustainability and corporate ocean responsibility. We have members, we have tens of thousands of companies and individuals engaged in the work of the World Ocean Council in our overall network, focusing on this shared goal of a healthy and productive global ocean and its sustainable use and stewardship by a responsible ocean business community. Importantly, there are business values and benefits, such as synergies and economies of scale and improving the stability and predictability in ocean operations that really create the incentives for this kind of collaboration and leadership amongst sectors. The World Ocean Council is increasingly recognized by a wide range of United Nations agencies and other organizations, international business groups, etc. And we really are the global voice for ocean sustainable development for the business and investment community. So to focus on our key topic here of the kinds of collaboration and leadership that's necessary to have sustainable seas in the region in the face of and as a part of the energy transition, it's important to think again about all of these different sorts of uses that are taking place in the oceans and seas, including in the Gulf, and how they relate to each other. Most of these sectors are expanding in their use, the kinds of use, the levels of activity, the location and geographical extent of activity, as the ocean and marine areas and resources are used increasingly by a variety of sectors. Some of the key sectors, of course, include oil and gas, and offshore oil and gas continues to be a very important part of the global energy mix, and will be so for some time to come, especially in the Gulf and in many areas that have the resources that are important as extraction methods move further offshore and deeper. There's also, of course, though, the growing deployment of wind energy, particularly now as wind moves to floating wind energy installations that allow it to move further offshore and operate in areas of the world where the topography and coastal bathymetry hasn't been conducive to the fixed installations. So we'll see a continued expansion in the development of offshore wind into new countries and new areas as the technology develops. Shipping, of course, is a huge part of the global ocean economy, accounting for 90+% of global trade. The growth in shipping has been exponential for many, many years. Of course, the current pandemic situation has had an important effect on shipping, but the expectation is that when the economic and pandemic situation stabilize, shipping will continue to grow and be a very important part of the global economy. Aquaculture has been the fastest growing food production system of any sort on the planet for many years, and now more than 50% of marine protein comes from aquaculture production as it supplants fisheries. However, fisheries are still very important in many parts of the world, including in the Gulf, where they've always been a part of the culture and the livelihoods and providing for part of the food security of the region. Globally, fisheries are a hugely important part of the economy, with 3 to 4 million fishing boats and 35 million plus jobs, creating livelihoods for many hundreds of millions of people around the world. Desalination is, of course, a critical part of the marine resource use in the Gulf and increasingly in other parts of the world as areas become more arid and as population in coastal cities grows. Of course, this though is critically important for the future of the Gulf in terms of the use of marine areas, the use of salt water, and the use of energy. Overall, one of the most extensive uses of coastal and marine environments are the ports and coastal infrastructure, the dredging, the infrastructure development, the landfills, etc., that take place with the development of ports and coastal infrastructure that's necessary for economic growth overall. Putting all this together, we have a global picture of many industries operating in the same global marine and ocean environment. If we focus in on any particular area, particularly semi-enclosed areas, we can see that the global ocean is affected all across the globe, some areas more than others. And if we really focus in, for example, in the semi-enclosed sea between Ireland and the UK as an example, we can see the complexity and intensity of nearshore marine, spatial, and resource use. The Gulf area would have a similar level of use in the semi-enclosed basin that consists of the Gulf, and we really need to think about then how to plan for that use in terms of sustainability and responsible use with the variety of activities that are taking place. One of the areas to address this that's becoming increasingly important around the world is called marine spatial planning, or maritime spatial planning, MSP for short. Marine spatial planning really works to ensure that the business community is engaged and informed of ocean planning and processes and plans as they are developed. It's important for the business community to understand how the planning is working and to engage in the planning process so that other stakeholders, governments, and the science and NGO community can be sure to take into account the potential business impacts and benefits of ocean planning, and really work with the business sector and industries to optimize the planning benefits so that we can have coordinated business engagement and ensure that the planning really looks at current and future business activities. To make this happen, it's really important that industry has a clear understanding about marine spatial planning and how it works, and really defines the benefits and determines how industry can optimize the marine spatial planning benefits and minimize the impacts of the planning on responsible and forward-looking business practices. So we work to ensure that the business community is really informed of the planning and engages with other stakeholders as this takes place to really develop a blueprint and a framework for responsible ocean economic activities in which wind energy, oil and gas extraction, shipping, aquaculture, fisheries, coastal development, and tourism, desalination, all can work in a more coordinated and harmonious situation that enables each sector to optimize its use and value from the marine environment. There's an opportunity for addressing this in the Gulf situation. The trends in the Gulf marine ecosystem are of concern. Overall, there is a decline in the Gulf's health due to the level and kinds of commercial uses, the results of the infrastructure development, the coastal development, the residential and tourism development. So there's a growing series of cumulative and transboundary impacts that are seriously affecting the health of the Gulf ecosystem. And this, in turn, is having impacts on the marine economy and impacts on societal benefits and cultural considerations. So with that in mind, it's important to think about what kind of collaborative work can be undertaken by the industries that are involved in and dependent on the use of marine space and resources in the Gulf, and looking at how a collaborative approach could be developed to ensure the Gulf's economic and environmental sustainability can be improved and maintained into the future. In particular, we would suggest that there's a need and opportunity for multi-industry leadership across the boundaries, creating the collaboration and action by the private sector to play its role in ensuring the health of the Gulf marine environment. There are priority areas for action involved in advancing marine spatial planning, particularly to work on reducing human impacts, such as invasive species from biofouling, the impacts of ocean noise or marine sound from construction activities, from oil and gas operations, from shipping activities. There's, of course, the issues of marine debris and plastics and the need for reception facilities to make sure that vessels can offload and discharge their various waste streams to appropriate facilities in the region where they will be handled and processed appropriately depending on the kind of waste involved. Overall, a need for marine protected areas and addressing marine mammal impacts, and particularly important kinds of ecosystems such as mangroves and coral reefs and seagrass beds through ecosystem management in addition to marine protected areas. Having these healthy marine ecosystems can then help ensure we have sustainable fisheries and sustainable aquaculture that depend on good water quality, good ecosystem health, all of which benefits then the countries of the region by contributing to food security, job development, and protein for communities. Other areas of action, of course, in relation to the energy transition include advancing the development of low carbon energy from marine areas as much as possible, including wind energy and other sources that may be potentially viable in the Gulf area. Also, we would note the opportunity for industry to get involved in collecting data, what we call smart ocean, smart industries. So working to use vessels and platforms to host or deploy sensors or host scientists to collect data that then can feed into the national and regional and international databases that help understand the physical and chemical components of the Gulf marine ecosystem and how they're changing, and be able to monitor the Gulf's health and productivity as time goes along and economic activities continue, and hopefully reverse the decline in the health of the Gulf marine ecosystem. There are also specific areas related to climate change that can be addressed at a multi-industry collaborative level, such as ensuring that coastal infrastructure and ports are resilient to effects of sea level rise or other changes due to climate conditions, and also the potential for taking on ocean carbon dioxide removal as appropriate in the region through approaches such as blue carbon, which manages and restores mangroves and seagrass bed to ensure that they are optimizing their potential to sequester carbon, in addition to dealing with ocean acidification and the warming of waters that are taking place due to climate change. Overall, there is this potential for helping develop Gulf-wide collaboration to ensure the marine environment can be improved and maintained in a healthy condition. The oil and gas and renewables sector can collaborate to drive this forward. Overall, regional cross-sectoral business collaboration is really an important way in which the business community and the investment community can work together to be providing leadership in ensuring we have a healthy marine environment, healthy coastal ecosystems that really contribute to the overall Gulf economic health, livelihoods, social and economic benefits for the future of the region based on a healthy marine ecosystem. We at the World Ocean Council undertake this kind of work with industries and leadership companies around the world at a regional level. We would be very happy and able to engage with companies in the Gulf to develop that leadership and collaboration, identify the critical issues that are threatening the future of the Gulf and threatening the, creating opportunities for responsible business development. There are key business values and drivers such as synergies and economies of scale that can result from this kind of collaboration. In closing, I would encourage all of you to think about the opportunities for cross-sectoral collaboration. We're happy to help with that at the World Ocean Council and develop the sort of leadership and action that can lead to a healthy Gulf ecosystem, a healthy Gulf marine and coastal economy for the future as we engage in this energy transition and move forward with increased use of marine areas and resources for overall economic development. Thanks very much.